Hey guys, Mr. Kozlov here. I thought it would be beneficial if I went through how to set up the problems that we had on Monday that dealt with surface area and nets. As you know, a net is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional object. So I'm going to show you how to set these up for those of you that are having problems, and what I might suggest is take the notes that you were given a few days ago and have those notes up on one tab, and then have your worksheet up on another tab, and that way every time you get a problem with that certain figure, you can go back to your notes and reference those as to how to do the problem. Okay? First square says the net of a square pyramid is shown. And I apologize, if it was a real square pyramid, then all of the triangles would be the same. But let's pretend that this is a rectangular pyramid, so we don't have that problem. But the first thing you need to do is find out the area of the square. And that would be 4 times 4. Okay? That would give you the area of the square. If you wanted to find the area of this triangle and this triangle, they are the congruent triangles that are the same. So I'm going to take the base, which is 4, times the height, which is 10, and I'm going to divide that by 2 because it's a triangle. But there are 2 of them, right? Top and bottom. So I'm going to multiply both of those by 2, okay? And that will give me both of the blue triangles. So in another color, I'm going to do the other 2 triangles because these 2 triangles are the same, okay? So I have that same base of 4 because remember it's a square and every side is the same. So I'm going to do 4 times 8, and I'm going to divide that by 2. But remember again, there are 2 triangles, so I'm going to multiply it by 2. And that's going to give me an answer. So I'm going to do 4 times 4 for the center, which we'll just put in green, okay? And then I'm going to do the 2 triangles, multiply them both by 2, and get 3 different answers for 5 faces. Make sure you put your answer where it belongs. The second one is a triangular pyramid made of 4 congruent equilateral triangles, which means they're all the same. They're equilateral and they are congruent. So each one of these is exactly the same. So if I find one face of that net, then I only have to multiply it by 4. Okay? So one face of that triangle would be 8 times 7 divided by 2. So if I do 4 times 8 times 7 divided by 2, I would get my answer. Okay? That's the short way of doing it. The long way would be to do 8 times 7 divided by 2, plus 8 times 7 divided by 2, plus 8 times 7 divided by 2, plus 8 times 7 divided by 2. Pause this, stop, look at it again. We'll move on to the next 2. Okay, so for number 3 and number 4, how do I set up a 3-dimensional object? Well, remember, check your notes for a rectangular pyramid. It says, I'm going to write this over here, 2 times length times width. 2 times length times height, and 2 times height times width. Why does it say that? Once again, because the front and the back are the same, the left and the right side are the same, and the top and the bottom are the same. That's where we get the 2's from. It's twice the length times the width, twice the length times the height, and twice the height times the width. For those of you that need a shortcut for this, you're basically taking these 2 numbers and multiplying them, these 2 numbers and multiplying them, and these 2 numbers and multiplying them. Those are the lengths, the heights, and the widths. So I have 11 times 7 times 2, I have 7 times 4 times 2, and then I have 11 times 4 times 2. If I do that and add those 3 together, I get my answer. Number 4 is an interesting one. Number 4 says I already have 64 square inches. So I'm going to draw myself that square here, and if it's already 64 inches squared, whoops, then I've already multiplied. The inches are already squared, meaning I've multiplied two sides of that square, and I've gotten 64. Well, what do we know about a square? We know that all the sides are the same. So if all the sides are the same, then my length times width to equal 64, this has to be the same as this. Are you catching on? That means 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4. Somehow, something has to equal 64. The numbers have to be the same. And as it turns out, 8 times 8 is the only number multiplied by itself that equals 64. So what that means is every side of the square has got to be 8 inches. So if every side of the square is 8 inches, again, I know that 8 times 8 equals 64, so there's my first surface area. All of the triangles have to be the same because it's a square. So 10 times 8 divided by 2 gives me one face of that triangle, but there are 4 triangles. So if I multiply 10 times 8 divided by 2 times 4, that gives me the other faces of that particular squared pyramid. So 64 plus whatever that answer is gives me my total answer. Okay, pause that if need be, look at it again. We'll move on to the next 2 problems. The next 2 problems have a couple of extra different shapes. Now we're looking at a triangular pyramid again, which is the same, and also a rectangular pyramid. So let's start with a equilateral triangle, okay? And it says the pyramid, all the triangles are equilateral. So once again, I'm going to take 18, the base, times 16, the height, divide it by 2, because they're triangles, and then I'm going to multiply that by 4, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. That will give me my answer. Now if you need to, and I'm going to do it on this one just so you can see, you can simplify these numbers, okay? The 4 is the same as saying 4 over 1, right? So if I needed to, I could take 2 and divide it by 2 and get 1, and then I can take one of these even numbers and I can divide that by 2. So I'm going to take the 18 divided by 2 and get 9, and now I have 9 times 16 times 4, and that will give me my answer. Number 6, the net of a rectangular pyramid as shown. First, I'm going to find the interior. The interior rectangle is 7 times 15. Then I have 2 triangles that are alike, and I have 2 other triangles that are alike. So I have to do, first, in green, 2 times 15, which is the base, times 10. 15 times 10 divided by 2, because that's a triangle. And then I have to take the other 2 triangles. The base is 7, so I have 2 times 7 times 12 over 2. Oops, why I put an 8 there, I'll never know. 7 times 12, base times height, over 2. And that's going to give me my next number. When I add blue, green, and red, I get my actual answer. Once again, shortcut for those of you that can understand that. 2 over 1 cancels out the lower 2 because these 2's can both be simplified to become 1, which leaves me with what that answer would be, 7 times 12. This 2 over 1, that 2 at the bottom can also cancel, meaning 15 times 10. So 7 times 15, 15 times 10, 7 times 12, add them up, you've got your answer. Pause if needed, we'll come right back to it. Come on, man. All right, next 2 that you need to look at. One of these, again, is just a cube. That's the easiest one on the page because a cube, all the sides are the same. So I have 6 faces to a cube. Remember, a cube when it is flat, and I told y'all I can't draw, looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 surfaces. They're all the same because it's a cube. How do I find the one surface? If 1 is 5, that's length times width equals. Whatever that number is gets multiplied by 6, and there's my answer, because all 6 faces are the same. Next, a rectangular prism. This rectangular prism is actually the same as the other rectangular prism from before. Yeah, it's not going to let me do that. So it's going to be the same as this rectangular prism. Sorry, not the same as that one. The same as this rectangular prism. Sorry for all the little notes on there. Okay? Except it is actually the version of a net. So you have to be able to label all of these faces. Okay? So if this line is 10, then so is this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. If the length of the left side is 4, the length of the right side is 4. And if I was going to flip those up to be 3-dimensional, and if I was going to take the back and flip it up, then that means this side would be 3, this would be 3, and these would be 3. What that leaves me with is the top, which would be exactly like these. So I've got every one labeled. Now I just need to multiply 3 times 10, 10 times 3, 10 times 3, 10 times 4. 4 times 3, 4 times 3. Now I've got all of them that I need. Hope that one made sense. Whoops. All right, come on, man. Number 9 and 10. This is a triangular prism where both of these triangles are congruent and equal. So I have 3 as a base, and I have 5 as my height. So I have 2 times 3 times 5 over 2. And that takes both of my triangles areas. Now I have to look at these rectangles, and people, they are not all the same. Here is a length of 6 and a width of 9, so that's 6 times 9. Here is the same 6 and 9. And in the center, I have 3 as my width instead of 6, but still 9. 3 times 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 faces. Add them all together, you'll get your answer. This is also a triangular pyramid. The only difference is instead of the 2 triangles being up and down, they're side by side. Okay? But this is actually still the same. So we're going to do it the same way. I have a height of 9 I have a base of 8, because these are all 8 centimeters. Okay? This line is 10, this line is 10, this line is 10. Okay? Even though it doesn't look exactly the same, if this is 8 centimeters and this is 8 centimeters, then I have to have this be 8 centimeters. Okay? There you have it. So I have 9 times 8 divided by 2 times 2 gives me my 2 triangles. Then I also have 3 rectangles that are going to be 10 times 8, 10 times 8, and 10 times 8. When I add all 5 of those together, I'll get my answer to number 10. Last 2 problems for those of you counting at home. This is a net of a cube. Remember how easy a cube is. There are 6 faces, and each side is going to be 8. So every one of these lines is an 8. So if I take 6 times 8 times 8, which is the area of a square, I'm going to get my actual answer. Okay? Or I can take 8 times 8 and add it together 6 times. Okay? Last but not least, rectangular prism. Or, I'm sorry, rectangular pyramid. So in a rectangular pyramid, remember, first thing to do is find the rectangle, which is 6 times 10. So there's my area of the rectangle. Then I have 2 triangles that are exactly alike. It has a base of 10. It has a height of 8. So that's 8 times 10 divided by 2 times 2, because there are 2 of them. And then I have 10 times 6 and 10 times 6 divided by 2 times 2. That gives me my other 2 triangles. Add, answer. There you have it, people. I hope that helps you out. Start and stop this as often as you need. Good luck on this worksheet.